As people of faith, we are called to live our lives in a way that glorifies God, and one of the most challenging aspects of this is the notion of winning without fighting. In a world that often promotes aggression, dominance, and power, choosing to respond with peace and humility can seem counterintuitive. However, it is precisely this approach that Jesus Christ modeled for us. Throughout his teachings and interactions with others, Jesus consistently emphasized the importance of nonviolence and forgiveness. He said, "But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also." Matthew 5:39. In other words, Jesus was telling us to resist the urge to fight back against those who may harm us, and instead to respond with love and compassion. This is a radical concept, and it's one that we may struggle to put into practice in our everyday lives. It can be easy to feel angry or resentful when we perceive that someone has wronged us, and our natural inclination might be to strike back. However, Jesus was very clear that this is not the way we should behave. Instead, he encouraged us to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. Sometimes, this can feel incredibly difficult, particularly when we see those who are hostile or hurtful to us as the enemy. However, when we take a step back and approach these situations from a place of love and understanding, we often find that the outcome is much more positive. Rather than spreading more negativity and anger, we have the opportunity to create peace and healing. There is a story in the Gospel of John where a group of people bring a woman to Jesus who has been caught in the act of adultery. Under Jewish law, she should be stoned to death. But Jesus responds by saying, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." He then writes something on the ground, which is not recorded in the text. Whatever he wrote, it had a powerful effect on the crowd. They slowly began to walk away, one by one, until only Jesus and the woman were left. He then says to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin." This story is a powerful example of how Jesus used the art of peace to overcome aggression and win without fighting. By challenging the crowd to examine their own flaws and weaknesses, he was able to diffuse the situation and create the conditions for forgiveness and reconciliation. There's a famous saying that goes, "When they throw rocks at you, throw back bread." This is the epitome of the art of peace that Jesus modeled for us. Instead of being reactive and aggressive, we can choose to be proactive and compassionate. Rather than seeing those who are hostile to us as our enemies, we can see them as people in need. We can extend grace and kindness, even when it feels risky or out of our comfort zone. Ultimately, choosing the path of peace over the path of violence or aggression is not easy. It requires us to let go of our ego and our desire to be right. It invites us to step into vulnerability and trust that our actions will have a positive impact. And yet, it is precisely this way of living that Jesus modeled for us. He came to show us a new way of being in the world, a way that is centered on love and mercy, rather than power and domination. As we strive to follow in Jesus' footsteps, let us remember the importance of winning without fighting. Let us seek to be agents of peace in a world that often seems so chaotic and violent. May we extend love and compassion to all those we encounter, no matter how difficult that may be. And may we trust that God's grace will guide and sustain us every step of the way.